Good morning, students. As part of our direct retainers class, next we will be seeing different types of occlusal approaching class and gingerly approaching class. You know, occlusal approaching class basic design we have, class assembly we have discussed. Next, in that occlusally approaching class, what are the different types or different forms of class will be there? They are commonly called circlet clasp or circumferential clasp, embrasure clasp, ring clasp, back, back action clasp, reverse action clasp, hairpin clasp, multiple clasp, half and half clasp, combination clasp, onlay clasp. So these are different types of circumferential clasp. So basic design will be same for all. Depending on the situation of the survey lines and the tooth position and the edentulous area and the area of undercut. So the design of the circumferential class will be changed. So depending on the design, the name is given to each class. Okay. So these are, see, this is simple circlet clasp or Akers clasp or simple circlet clasp. So this is embrasure clasp. We will be discussing each class in our later section. So this is reverse action clasp. Okay, so it has originated from here and it has come down and it has taken a hairpin bend. So this is known as fish hook clasp or hairpin clasp or reverse Akers clasp. This is ring clasp. It encircles the tooth entirely, so it is known as ring clasp. This is back action clasp. This is a combination clasp. So let's see individually. So these are different forms of gingerly approaching clasp or bar clasp. We will see in next class. Okay. Coming to circumferential clasp. So a thorough knowledge of the principles of clasp design lead to logical application of those principles. So first basically we should have proper clasp design principles we should know thoroughly. It is better to understand some of the more common clasp design individually. So we will see the individual clasp designs in this section, in this class. The clasp is usually the most logical to use with all tooth-borne partial denture. So, in tooth-supported partial denture, example in class 3, Kennedy's class 3 situation, where edentulous space is bounded by natural teeth anteriorly and posteriorly. Means we take support of the abutment teeth anteriorly and posteriorly of the edentulous area. So in this situation, circumferential clasp or C clasp is most logical to use because of its better retentive and stabilizing ability. So in this situation, C clasp will provide better retention and stabilizing ability. Basic design of clasp is a buccal and lingual arm originating from a common body. We have seen in clasp assembly. From the common body, shoulder arises, and in one side we have retentive arm, other side you have reciprocal arm. See, these are this is very important. You should know the basic design rules of circumferential clasp. So here the retentive arm tip or retentive arm terminal will be flexible and it engages a measured undercut in the gingival 1/3 of an abutment crown. So this is very important. So the components of the clasp, all the components except the retentive arm terminal or retentive tip except that remaining portion of the clasp will lie above the height of contour. Only the terminal or the tip will engage the undercut which is lying below the height of contour. Then second point, the retentive clasp arm terminal should not contact the free gingival margin. This is very important. So even though you engage the retentive arm terminus in the undercut, it should not go on to the gingival margin and it should not end at the mesial or distal line angle pointing towards the occlusal surface. See here. See, class form starts from the rest seat, from the body. The class form starts above the height of contour. As it passes the height of contour, this is the survey line or height of contour. So below the height of contour in the undercut area, the return to arm should engage. This should be away from the gingival margin. And also the return to arm tip should be curved towards occlusal surface of the tooth. It should curve. It should not curve towards downward. It should curve upward. This is very, very important. Okay, and it should lie in the mesial line angle or distal line angle of the buccal surface. So either in the mesial line angle or distal line angle. Never terminate your return to arm tip in the middle of the buccal surface or middle of the lingual surface. So the return to arm terminus should not contact the free gingival margin and should end at the mesial or distal line angle pointing towards the occlusal surface. So this should engage the undercut and it should not impinge the gingival margin, and the tip should curve occlusally upward and engage the mesial line angle or distal line angle. The stabilization reciprocal arm should be positioned at the proximal third of return to arm should be placed no higher than the middle third of the tooth. Okay, so the reciprocal arm and proximal 2/3 of return to arm should be above the middle third of the tooth, preferably at the junction of gingival and middle third. The bracing clasp form should be slightly thicker, means reciprocal arm should be thicker, which provides stabilization. It should be thicker than the return to clasp form to promote rigidity. Okay, this is very, very important in the designing. This is the basic design. Have rest, body, shoulder, return to arm, reciprocal arm, and minor connector. Same. Now, so in simple circulated class, we have various advantages and disadvantages. Let's see, each type of clasp has its own advantages and disadvantages. We see. So advantages. The clasp fulfills the requirement of support, stability, reciprocation, encirclement, and passivity better than any other type of clasp. So this circumferential clasp main advantage is it provides good support, stability, reciprocation, encirclement, and passivity than any other type of clasp, and it is very easy to construct. So it is simple to construct. Okay, and it is also simple to repair. This is the main advantage of circlet clasp or C clasp. Coming to disadvantages, it tends to increase the circumference of the crown. See, you can see here. From here, the clasp is covering the tooth buccally, lingually. So it covers the tooth. In the most part of the tooth will be covered. So because of this, it changes the contour of the tooth structure. And also, when this clasp is in position, patient chews food. Food will get lodged here, and so it increases the food table also. And metal is in constant contact of the tooth structure. So cleaning, patient will face problem with the cleaning and hygiene maintenance and leads to decalcification of the tooth. These are the disadvantages. So it tends to increase the circumference of the tooth, and it is not acceptable in anterior region. So in anterior region, if this clasp is given, the metal will be seen outside. So aesthetically, patient will face problem. And it covers more tooth surface than the bar clasp form and prone to caries. So as it covers more tooth surface, patient will have hygiene maintenance will be difficult for the patient. It's to caries. And return to undercuts on some tooth are difficult to reach with return to terminal of the clasp. Sometimes occlusally approaching clasp is difficult to give in some return to undercuts. So next type of clasp is embrasure clasp. So you can see this. See, this is embrasure clasp. See, in embrasure clasp, we have two C class which are joined at the body of the class. So body of the, you remember class assembly, different parts of the class, right? So body of one C class and body of other C class will be joined together. Okay, so two C class will be joined together at the body. So this type of class is known as embrasure class. So it has two retentive arms, two reciprocal arms, two recips, and it has to be placed in between two natural teeth. So there is no edentulous area. When there is a full complement of teeth on one side of the arch, so where you have to take support or where you have to get retention, you engages the embrasure area of the dentulous side of the arch. Okay, so embrasure clasp. Okay, this clasp is essentially two single circlet clasps joined at the body. This is important. So two circlet clasps joined at the body. So where it is given means in Kennedy's class 2 or class 3 or class 4 cases where no edentulous space on opposite side of the arch. When one side of the arch does not have any edentulous space and you have to gain retention in that area means you have to give embrasure class. But here you have to remember, to give this class we have to provide sufficient space must be given between the abutment teeth in their occlusal third to make room for the body of embrasure class. So to provide this body or to provide this embrasure class, we have to create sufficient space to locate this. So if you don't prepare sufficient space here and if you give this class, it will cause occlusal interference. When patient bites, opposing teeth will come and contact the metal here and remaining teeth will be out of occlusion. It causes pain to the patient or it leads to fracture of the class. So to avoid this, you have to provide sufficient space between the teeth in the occlusal third. And contact area should not be eliminated completely. And you have to remember, contact area of between these abutment teeth should not be eliminated. And abutment teeth should be protected with crowns. See, as we are creating space in the occlusal third of the tooth, it may lead to caries. So you have to protect the tooth with crowns or inlays if necessary. This depends upon the age of the patient, caries index and oral hygiene. This depends on patient hygiene maintenance and caries index. This class should be used with double occlusal rest. The proximal shoulder should be established to avoid interproximal wedging by process. This class should have two retentive clasp arms and two reciprocal arms either bilaterally or diagonally opposed. Contraindication of this embrasure clasp is if tooth structure is short and bulbous, tooth is very huge or short, this embrasure clasp is contraindicated. Not preferred in teeth with more undercuts. More number of undercuts are there, embrasure clasp is not advisable. Main disadvantages are needs adequate cleanliness in occlusal surface. See, two abutment teeth on either side is filled by this class. So cleanliness or hygiene maintenance should be more from the patient side. Breakage of inadequate preparation. As we discussed, occlusally to give rests on two abutment teeth, sufficient clearance should be given from the opposing teeth. If a clearance is not there, it leads to breakage and leads to wedging action on the tooth and causes mobility of the abutment teeth. Now, next, ring class. Whenever there is a molar is tilted, see here first molar is missing, second molar is tilted. In this case, see here from the rest, the clasp has been originated and started and it encircles the tooth completely on one side, proximally on the other proximal end, and the other axial surface it engages and it terminates here. So it's starting here, covers entire tooth all over and ends here. So as it is covering entire tooth, it is known as ring clasp. As you wear your ring to your finger, how it covers the finger. Same way it covers the tooth all over. So it is known as ring clasp. So it is mostly given in tilted molars. Ring clasp indicated in tilted molars or in a single standing abutment teeth where it is not supported by teeth anterior and posteriorly. Unsupported mandibular molar tend to drift and tip in a mesiolingual direction. The maxillary molar tip in mesiobuccal direction. So available return to undercut will be located on mesiolingual line angles of mandibular molars and mesiobuccal line angles of maxillary molars. See, remember, if a maxillary or mandibular molar tips, you have written to undercut in the mesiolingual line angle. Okay, on the lingual side of the mesial surface, you have undercut in the mandibular molar, whereas mesiobuccal you have one maxillary molar. So depending on where the undercut is, so you have to start your clasp from cover entire tooth and engages the undercut. This ring clasp permits engagement of this undercut by encircling almost entire tooth from its point of origin. Mandibular molar clasp encircles the tooth beginning on the mesiobuccal surface and terminating in infrabulge area on the mesiolingual. See here. So mesially, the clasp form starts, covers the buccal surface, distal part, lingually, and ends in the mesiolingual undercut. So it encourages the mesiolingual undercut. And here you have one more point. Because of length of the clasp, it must be designed with additional support. See, as it is covering so much tooth structure, it should be supported in between. If not, at this length, it leads to bending or it leads to distortion. So you have to give additional support, usually in the form of auxiliary bracing arm. Auxiliary bracing arm will be given to provide support for this extra length of the clasp. This can provide reciprocation and some amount of stability. Because of this entire coverage, you have more reciprocation and stability. The entire clasp except the return to terminal shall be placed above the height of contour. An additional occlusal rest can be placed and provide additional support and prevent mesial migration of the tooth. See here. See here. It is starting from mesially, encircling the tooth, covering it, engaging the undercut here, mesiolingual. See, additional rest is given to provide more support and to prevent mesial migration of the tooth. Main contraindication in mandibular molar where the attachment of buccinator muscle is so close to the tooth, the auxiliary bracing arm encroaches on it. So when there is insufficient sulcus depth, so next to the mandibular molar, if the sulcus depth is insufficient, so we cannot provide bracing arm in that region. Bracing arm must cross the soft tissue undercut. So when there is any soft tissue undercut, the bracing arm should not encroach it. So that is very disadvantage or contraindicated in that region. Advantage of ring clasp is as it covers most of the tooth structure, excellent bracing and decreased leverage as it braces the tooth, decreased leverage forces, less stresses to the abutment teeth. Main disadvantage needs long crowns and enough occlusal clearance. Occlusal clearance has to be there, and as we discussed, there should be long crown. If there is a short crown or insufficient sulcus depth, this cannot be given, and it is difficult to repair. You have multiple rests, so much clasp arm length is more, then you have bracing arm, so difficult to repair if any damage happens. Next, reverse action clasp or hairpin clasp. See here. So this is the point of origin. This is the point of origin of the clasp, and you have undercut below the point of origin of the clasp, which has to be engaged. So here, the clasp arm will go like this and take a reverse loop form and engages the undercut here. So it will be like a fish hook or hairpin. This is known as reverse action clasp, hairpin clasp, or fish hook type. This is the point of origin. Undercut is below the point of origin. So it goes like this, comes back, turns back, and engages the undercut. This clasp is essentially a simple circular clasp in which the retentive arm, after crossing the facial surface of the tooth from its point of origin, loops back in a hairpin turn to engage a proximal undercut below its point of origin. So, retentive arm goes like this and loops back to engage the undercut below the point of origin. This is the point of origin. Below it, you have undercut. The upper part of retentive arm must be considered to be a minor connector and should be rigid. So, this part is considered as a minor connector and should be rigid. The lower part of the clasp arm should be tapered. It is the only flexible part of the clasp arm. So, this lower part should be tapering and it should be flexible to engage the undercut. The crown of the abutment tooth must have a sufficient occlusogingival height. See, so much it is going like this and coming back. So, the height of the tooth should be sufficient to position this clasp. The upper and lower arms of the retentive clasp must also be shaped in such a way that food debris will not be retained between them. So, this has to be the upper part of the retentive arm and lower part of the retentive arm should be positioned properly. If they are placed too close, food will get lodged and it is difficult for the patient to clean. So, they have to position such that patient should be able to maintain hygiene properly or can be able to clean the food debris. There must be enough space between the arms so that the metal may be adequately finished and polished. If there is enough clearance is there between the two arms of the retentive surface, retentive arms can be easily finished and polished. Indication. It is mainly indicated in distal extension partial denture. So, remember, hairpin clasp or reverse action clasp is given in distal extension partial denture, means Kennedy's clasp 1 and clasp 2 situation, and mesially inclined posteriors and undercuts additional to the retentive area. Okay, if undercuts are there additional to the edentulous area or adjacent to the edentulous area, we have to engage this hairpin clasp for reverse action clasp. Proximal undercut must be used on a posterior abutment, and when the tissue undercut on the or high tissue attachment prevent the use of bar clasp. Usually, Kennedy's class 1 and class 2 distal extension partial denture, we prefer bar clasp. In some areas where bar clasp cannot be given because of high tissue attachment or because of tissue undercut, we have to give this hairpin clasp. Lingual undercut is present, which prevents the placement of supporting minor connector without tongue interference. Hairpin clasp is indicated. If there is chance of lingual side undercut is there, and we cannot give minor connector because of the tongue interference, we give hairpin clasp is indicated. Contraindication of this reverse action clasp is tight occlusal contact increases posterior overbite and short crown. If there is a tight occlusal contact, we cannot give this. And posterior overbite, if there is a very much deep bite posteriorly, when occlusion upper and lower teeth contacts, there won't be much space for this clasp placement, and there is a short crown we cannot give. We already discussed the length of the abutment tooth should be high to provide two arms of the retentive arm clasp. Clasp cover considerable tooth surface and may trap debris. This is main contraindication. Advantages: it is easy to construct and adjustability. Disadvantage: food entrapment, as there is a two arms are shown on one surface of the tooth, is aesthetically a problem, and caries occurrence. Multiple clasp. We already discussed. The embrasure clasp is two circlet clasp which are attached at the body of the clasp. Okay. Whereas multiple clasp, here two simple circular clasps which are attached at the reciprocal arms. So reciprocal arms of the two circular clasps will be attached. See? Multiple clasp is two opposing simple circular clasps joined at the terminal end of two reciprocal arms. two reciprocal arms tips of the two opposing or two different circular clasps will be joined. So this is known as multiple clasp, where indication when additional retention is needed. So when one tooth abutment support is not sufficient, then when we need additional retention, we give multiple clasp. This multiple clasp most preferred in tooth-borne partial denture, means Kennedy's class 3 situation. Multiple clasping is required when the partial denture replaces the entire half of dental arch. So when one side of the dental arch is been replaced with removable partial denture, multiple clasp will be given or give additional support and stability. And the principal abutment teeth, periodontal support can be used in the form of splinting. See, this is the principal abutment teeth. So if this is periodontally weak or support of this is poor, then if you take support of this additional tooth, this can be splinted. One tooth can be splinted, or the forces on one tooth can be distributed on two teeth. So when force on one teeth is distributed over two teeth, the force per one on one teeth will be decreased. So where you give multiple clasp is when additional retention is required, tooth-borne partial dentures, when multiple clasp are required in case of replacing entire half of the dental arch, and when principal abutment is periodontally weak, and to splint this we take support of additional tooth and we give multiple clasp. Advantages: less metal is displayed and less tooth coverage because two simple circular clasps are given in two teeth, and leaves room for mesial portion of the denture base to a large extent that it would be otherwise. So it gives room for the denture base on the mesial part, and it braces the abutment on the mesial even if the tooth is tipped distally. Even though abutment teeth can, if it is tipped distally, it can engage mesial side. Marginal gingiva can be left uncovered of the abutment teeth for better tissue health. Marginal gingiva will not be entrapped or will not be harmed. Next, half and half clasp. So here this clasp contains a circumferential retentive arm arising from one direction. See here. Example, see this. This is the retentive arm. From where this is the mesial part of the tooth, distal part of the tooth. So the retentive arm is started from the distal side and engages the mesio-buccal undercut. Okay, mesial line angle. See, from distal it starts and engages the mesial undercut. Whereas same clasp other side, lingual side, it starts from the mesial rest and engages the distal distal lingual undercut. This clasp consists circumferential clasp form arising from one direction. So circumferential clasp retentive arm is engaged, starts from distally, engages the mesial part. Reciprocal arm starts from opposite side, means reciprocal arm on the lingual side starts from mesially and ends here. Okay, so this clasp contains a circumferential retentive arm arising from one direction and reciprocal arm arising from another minor connector. This principle of half and half clasp should be applied only to a unilateral denture design. When there is a unilaterally teeth are missing, in case of class 2 Kennedy's, half and half clasp can be engaged. The buccal arm provides a bracing only. The buccal arm provides bracing or stability. The lingual arm utilizes an undercut adjacent to the edentulous space for retention. The lingual arm utilizes undercut for retention. Indication. So half and half clasp is given in lingually inclined premolars where lingual undercuts are close to the edentulous space. So premolars when they are lingually inclined, so we have to give this half and half clasp to engage the lingual undercuts. Contraindication: when there is a buccally inclined premolars. When their premolars are buccally inclined, this is not indicated. If it is used for distal extension RPD, a distal rest should be placed. Mesial rest also can be used in conjugation with distal rest. Okay. So when it is used for distal extension RPD, we place two rests, one on the mesial, one on the distal surface of the tooth.